Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Square Eyes Syndrome. It's the Halloween special. I'm Ben Gilman. He's the charmless one, the only charm fan in the village. It's Troy Salmon.
What's up?
He will always give a dead body a poke. It's Tom Hill.
Hey.
He is Irish, but it sounds like he's a motorbike at the moment. It's Dan Rudge.
It's not me, it's my cat.
Yeah, I was going to make a pussy joke, but it's no, we're not going to go down that. Yeah, it really is beneath me. How are all you guys doing? Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
How have all you guys been doing?
I'm doing good, me. I'm surviving, you know. It's horror season. It's about to go down.
So,
yes, to the max.
So this is totally the time for you to talk about Charmed and get it over and done with. Really?
You think so? Yeah.
So everyone's good though. So Troy, you got up first, and you got to tell us why is it going to be Charmed? It's going to be Charmed, so just get it out of the way.
No, it's not going to be Charmed. Something different.
Why is it Charmed? Just get on with it.
Ben,
it's not Charmed.
Ben, back away from the trauma.
Exactly, back away from the trauma. The trauma's coming soon. Don't worry, the trauma's coming soon, but not today.
He's never talked about Charmed. I just wanted to do it so we can come back. Just get on with it.
Don't worry, the trauma will return someday. Don't worry.
I'm so glad that Ben isn't just like our supreme overlord on this.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Just do it.
So
why is it not Charmed?
So it's not Charmed because I want to be spectacular when I reveal it.
It will never happen.
Don't worry. So I'm saving that up. Don't worry, guys. It's coming. Don't worry. But for now, I have to settle for these two horror picks of mine. Oh, so
horror as in their shit or horror as in they're scary? Because you never know what to expect.
As in peak greatness. That's what's gonna happen right now. So first off, guys and gals, ghouls and goblins. First off, we have Monsterland. So, I don't know if you guys have heard of Monsterland.
Nope.
What? Nope. For real? You haven't heard of Monsterland?
Nope. Never.
Okay. So it's like almost like a creep show. Tales of the Crypt type
Sell
thing.
it to us.
So Monsterland is in the same vein as, like, as I said before, Tales of the Crypt, creep show, those kind of anthology shows. But this one literally is a monster every week, basically, the thing. So it's like a Netflix type. It's all out, finished already. It's all came out all at once. October 2nd, that's when it came out. But I'm watching that week to week. So I've only literally watched the first episode. So literally.
Oh, hold on. Is this the one with the kids, like the haunted house of the kids that I saw recently?
Which one was it? What do you mean?
I think I've seen this is for a family audience, right? I think I've seen.
Ben, how do you know what kids? What kids you had seen?
Look, I watched a Netflix show. Monsterland is one that I have seen recently. I always give a Netflix original a clip.
No, it's Hulu. That's adult ones. Adult.
Okay, so I've not seen this then.
Oh, you haven't seen this one.
Okay, history done.
Okay. It's on Hulu.
I'm glad we got to the bottom of that.
Yeah, exactly. I was wondering where it's going with that. But so it's obviously a streaming TV show. Go on, what's that?
Sorry, I have not had a coffee today. I do apologize. Anyway, sorry.
So it's based upon the short story collection of North American lake monsters stories by Nathan Ballingrud. So it's an 8-episode season. I only saw the first one, remember, guys. So for the first episode, I was like, I saw one of my favorite actors right now. So someone called Jonathan Tucker. I don't know if you guys remember him. Jonathan Tucker. He's been in Justified, Kingdom, Westworld. He's been in shows.
Who was he in Westworld?
Freak, what was he in Westworld? I can't remember. The heck was he in Westworld again? I literally can't remember.
Someone that I've always just about missed his show. He sounds like the actor that goes in every show that I should watch, but I never get around to.
Yeah, exactly. He's one of them characters that he's always there. He's always like a villain.
Yeah,
always a villain. Everything he's in, he's one of them guys. You always see him in there, just a straight villain. But you know his face.
He's a slightly rat face.
Yeah, him. So you know exactly what he said that. I was like, yeah, you know who it is. Okay. So John Tucker, he's literally the main, almost the antagonist of the episode, but it kind of flips on flops because he kind of turns into like a good guy at the end of the first episode, but the same, he's not really good. He almost plays like an anti-hero type. So he's like a shapeshifter in the episode. Literally, he's killing all these people, but at the same time, there's someone worse than him, another shifter, who's literally almost like the devil. He has a great plot in this whole episode. It's like, I was like, yo. But the thing is, there's an overarching story in the episode where there's this girl who's got a daughter, but the daughter's got problems. She's kind of like mentally ill. She's always crying, always like just going off on people. And
Charm got cancelled.
Huh?
Is that because Charm got cancelled?
Here we go. My God, you have to throw something in there about Charm, didn't it? This guy. But she's called Caitlin Dever. I don't know if you heard of her. Caitlin Dever. Probably seen her around. She's in stuff as well. She's almost like that the main guy Jonathan Tucker. She's kind of like him. She's always in stuff. She's got a country accent. Was it Justified as well? Yeah, she was in Justified as well. She was the one the young girl who was selling drugs in Justified. Any of you seen Justified? She was like really young. Have any of you seen Justified?
No, I've never seen it.
My gosh, Justified is like a great show. If you haven't seen that show, watch that show. That show is amazing. Okay. But yeah. So literally, we've got 2 Justified characters up in this episode. But as I said before, let's go back to this one. So the shapeshifter, he finds her because he finds her fascinating because she doesn't care about anything. She's got this little girl. She's having problems. She works at a diner. She's down in her luck. And then she meets him. They have like a little fling, and he shows her his body collection. He shows her all these like names on literally in his car, and she kind of sees him, and he rips. Literally, this is the reveal. So spoilers, guys, spoilers. So he literally just tears his face off, and it's just pure flesh. It's mad. This whole show, it's psychological horror. This show is epic, yo. This episode is amazing. And literally, she wakes up the next morning. This guy's a woman. Out of nowhere, this guy turns to a woman. I'm like, wait, is that the same guy? I'm like, what? The same eyes. But I was like, what the heck is this? But then that's when he tells the story of this ancient evil that's apparently worse than him. And she literally, her life is wrecked. She literally leaves her daughter in a car with someone else and drives off. So it's a play on human evil versus supernatural evil. So it's a play off that. So you got the 2 kind of evils going off there, or the 2 kind of wrongs that's happening in the world. So it kind of plays in duality, which I love. So Hulu, anyone who's got Hulu, get Hulu because Hulu's got some good stuff on there as well. Great adult stuff and not too much teen stuff. We've got teen stuff on there, but it's more in an adult way. So I'd suggest watch Monsterland on Hulu. It's out. It's all of the episodes are out. 8 episodes of the first season. So, what do you guys think about that? Could have done a better job, but it was tough.
You've only seen 1 episode, man, so it's hard to.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to
go too deep into.
But the thing is, I was like, I've been doing so much. I've been literally busy. But that first episode hooked me in. I was like, I love these kind of things, anyways. These anthology shows. So I can recommend that highly. So Monsterland, and there we go. So this is a fairly new one too. My second one. So I know you guys must have heard it. If you're into Marvel, you've probably heard of this show.
Hold on. I think I know what it is.
You know,
let him say
tell me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tell me. Go on. Guess. Have a guess.
No. Dan's right. Go ahead.
All right. Okay. Let's go ahead. Okay. So it's called Helstrom.
No.
There we go. Helstrom. Marvel. Dark Side of Marvel. There we go.
Yeah.
Helstrom again. Another Hulu show. On my Hulu flex today. So you're repping that Hulu status. So Helstrom is another show. So he's a character from the Marvel Universe. He's basically appeared in the comics years ago. Initially referred to as the Son of Satan. That was his original tagline. But in the show, it kind of, they don't really delve into that so much. You almost thought he's literally a, how do you say in this show, a Constantine. A Marvel version of that. So literally, that's what he is. Yeah, so he's that Marvel version of Constantine. He's exorcising demons. He's solving crimes. There's like a younger character in the show who's like a trainee nun who follows him around, does little missions. And he's got a sister in the show. She's got abilities as well, but she grew up on the darker side of them growing up because her dad, their dad, is literally this ancient demon that's been going around murdering people for a while, for a long, long time. And it's so complex as well because their mom is literally locked up in this facility, in this almost like mental home, but it's more heavily guarded because she has a demon in her. And she's just in that room day in, day out. They watch her 24/7. And no one can talk to this woman because every time you go in there, you get a psionic shock. You get pushed back straight into the wall. So they have to pad all these walls because they get attacked. But at the same time, she's keeping her sanity in there for some reason because the demon and the mom have this kind of coexistence, this relationship where they're finally find this final goal of getting their kids to side with the demons. So their mom and the dad is literally at odds with each other. It's crazy. It's really good, by the way. It's so good. I don't know. Have you guys even seen like a trailer of it, Helstrom?
No, nothing.
Zero. Oh, snap. That's right. So literally,
I've seen a picture. That's
a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good, man. It's really good. And the player only plays the sister. What is her name? I think her name's Sydney Lemon. She's a really good actor.
I have a question. What franchise is this based on?
It's Marvel. It's Marvel Universe, Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, what is it, like a comic book already called Helstrom?
Yeah, it's based on a comic book. Yeah, Helstrom is a comic book.
I read comics 6 years ago, so I would never have got this in a million years.
No, so it's really old school comic. That's why, because you see him scattered throughout. Because he joins all these teams in the comics and stuff like God Squad and all these these demonic teams that he's part of. But you never really know him. You never really hear about him. Because you got people like Constantine, overshadowing him because you use him a lot over in Marvel. They don't really use any kind of Constantine type characters except for like maybe witchcraft characters like probably Zatanna or those kind of witch characters. But never really use Helstrom. So this is literally the first time they've kind of used Helstrom in a live action capacity. If you know what I mean. So yeah. So and literally there's a character with your sister's got a colleague who literally hides bodies for her because literally she goes out and kills people. So she literally touches people and kills them because she finds their deep darkest desires and just literally kills them. She doesn't care. The brother's like the good-hearted one, but at the same time, the demons know him as a traitor. So there's an underlying storyline there, which I haven't fully seen all the episodes. I've seen about 4 or 5 of the episodes of the season. I think there's like 10 episodes so far. This came out in October too, same time as Monsterland. So literally, this show is so complex, you know. Oh my, I'm like, wow.
So have you had the problem of trying to decide which one to watch at what time? Like if you've got two, go, do I watch this episode or do I do?
You know what? Yeah, you know what?
That's picking a favorite child, isn't it?
Yeah, because like got Helstrom and Monsterland, because the episodes Monsterland's shorter, but for some reason I'm more hooked on Helstrom. Even though Monsterland is really good, but it's more like a procedural.
But you feel guilty, right?
I feel guilty. I feel guilty.
That's right. One show at a time for me, bro.
I'm watching a ton of shows, and this horror season is making it worse.
I can only do one at a time.
I'm the worst with that. I can watch anything. Literally, I can watch about 10 different movies, like different storylines, thrillers, and horrors.
We've all picked over the last couple of months, don't we know it? Right.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. So Helstrom, hey, if you haven't seen Helstrom, go check it out, yo. This guy can control fire. This guy has telekinesis. The sister has telekinesis too. So literally have an abundance of powers between them, and I love seeing stuff like this, supernatural, comic book stuff. I'm a junkie for stuff like that. Like, I'll find it anywhere, as long as it's got like powers in it, supernatural elements. I'm good.
I think it might be possible you will talk about every superhero show by the time as this podcast goes on.
What do you mean? No, I just love my stuff like this, man. Stuff like The Boys and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Just anything to do powers, man, or comic booky stuff. I'm good. I love that stuff, man. I love it. And add a supernatural element in that as well. I'm good. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready to go. But yeah, so that's me doing Helstrom, Monsterland. Hey, Hulu, check it out, yo. Hulu is doing it right now.
That would be Now TV in England, though, right?
Yeah,
Because Hulu's American.
Oh, we're over here in the UK. Yeah.
We're just trying to make sure everyone gets the whole.
Yeah. See, that's how you know I'm an American buff right now. I love my American shows. I love them.
There's nothing wrong with that. Right. Is that it?
Yeah. So that's me done. My 2 shows.
Okay. Lovely. I can't jump up and down on them. It sounds like proper good stuff.
Solid.
Troy, you're turning into someone of class. What's going on?
Oh, class? What's that class?
After the podcast, you came up with really bad ones at the beginning. What's going on, mate?
I said, you know, let me just show these guys my true form. You know what I'm saying? I was like a Super Saiyan. You know what I'm saying? I was like base mode at the beginning. And I said, you know, let me just level up a couple of times. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah.
What's the go next? You know what? I'll go next.
Go on, Ben. Go on.
I'm just going to go for it. Okay, so I've just finished, just in time for Halloween. I think at the beginning of this podcast, you heard me go on about a show called The Haunting of Hill House. I don't think Dan was here when we did that, but now Dan knows. It was a Netflix 10-part series of set in a haunted house and the family dealing with it.
Yeah.
And I was really high on it. So they've just dropped The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Is that any good?
So it's an American. Yeah, it's very, very good. Also, I've had the whole battle of, is it better than the first one? But it's an American. It is American made, in for it's got many British actors in it. It's created by Mike Flanagan again. It's on Netflix again. This time it's loosely based on Henry James's work, mostly the 1898 novel The Turn of the Screw. It has a couple of actors come back into it. Victoria Pennoletti, Oliver Jackson Cohen, and some other people. But this, I've just found out Oliver Jackson Cohen is an Englishman because he was here last time. He was an American. He was really good. This time he's got a Scottish accent. He's a Londoner. The more you know, the more you know. It's a bit more. It's basically the basic premise is we follow someone called Danny, who's an American who goes to London. It dates back to 1987. I'm not going to give away any plot spoilers, so I'm just going to go into the main point. There's flashbacks. I'm just going to concentrate on the main plot.
Yeah.
So we go back to 1987 in London. There's an American called Danny who's left America for some reason, which we find out. And she gets a job working for a family that lives, well, not a family, the Wingrave residents. We find there's 2 spooky children called Flora and Miles.
Yeah.
They're very creepy. Without giving anything away, there's a housekeeper, a cook, a gardener, and obviously I'm very beholden not to spoil things now because I want you guys to watch it. So what I will say is there's a bunch of hauntings going on. They're all connected, and you basically find out what's going on. It's more of a love story this time, and it's not as scary as Hill House. This is more about connecting the puzzle box aspect of why there's hauntings.
Okay.
I didn't like episode 8 so much because it was an hour-long origin story. You could have done that in 20 minutes. And it's the second to last episode. So it really slows down the finale. And then it all gets wrapped up within 10 minutes of the final episode. And then you've got this really long epilogue that goes on for 50 minutes. So it's very good most of the way through.
Yeah.
It's got the bald-headed black lady from Black Panther as the housekeeper. I'm not going to pronounce her name because I would absolutely do a bad job. But you know the lady I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know you mean.
Yeah.
The head of the bodyguards of the King.
Yeah.
Black.
I'm not very good at saying her
Elijah.
so I'm just going to say she's fantastic in it. Her storyline is quite heartbreaking. And I just love this show. It does get you because there's so little jump scares this time. When they do one, it comes out of nowhere and just, it makes you shit yourself. So don't be drinking, like I said last time, don't be drinking anything in case you got to spit your water out, your beer, whatever. And it's okay. I would like to see a third round. I don't think it's as good as the first one.
Okay. Because everyone loved the first show. I haven't seen it, but
it's brilliant. It's just the last couple of episodes are a little bit. I would have changed a few things, but the children are delightfully creepy, which becomes clearer, and Perfectly Splendid has now become a catchphrase in my house.
Perfectly Splendid.
Very Poppins. Because they speak. Because the kids are really creepy, and then they're not creepy. So you kind of understand early on what's going on. Then you find out why they're so creepy and not creepy sometimes. And they talk like Mary Poppins characters sometimes, which is funny. But yeah, go see that. Dan, Tom, have you seen it?
No, I haven't, but I'm interested.
Have you seen the first one, Hill House?
No, I never properly watched it. I knew some people who recommended it to me because I enjoy my horror, but no, I guess there were other things that I kind of prioritized. But if you reckon it's worth the watch, then I'll go back and watch it.
Yeah, same here.
Oh no, they're both worth watching. I just think I'm looking forward to the next season. I do have a few problems with it, but I'm generally really happy with it.
Okay.
Just really good, great acting as always. But this time I think, and for me, like I said before, horror. The way horror works is you care about the characters, right?
Yeah.
So many horror films forget that, or horror shows. If I care about the characters, I'm gonna care about the show. So that's that tick. That's another tick for the Haunted series, if that's what we're calling it on Netflix.
Oh, yeah,
Again, you care about what the characters do and stuff, and I think that's. I love being a jump scare, but I don't want, you want the characters to survive, but you don't want to be cheering them getting killed because you hate them. Right? That's my thing. So, tick.
So what do you think of this season? What does it do better than the first season? You think? Or is it just the same thing over again? You mean?
At first, I thought it was because it's a creepy house. So you're already generally. Come on, then. What's your new thing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you have to kind of pay attention.
Yeah.
Because it's very season 1. They kind of you knew where things slotted in.
Yeah.
As it went along. This one, episode 5, I generally got excited because that's the bit where stuff starts to come forward.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of pay attention. I had to rewatch the ending twice.
Okay, so them was okay.
That's not a good sign sometimes. And I was watching intently, and I kind of felt like I was coming through a lost marathon at the end. That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign if I'm having to.
Lost. Oh no.
It's not like a Doctor Who. Sometimes a Stephen Moffat script. You have to pay attention sometimes. Yeah. And I like the fact it made me work for it, but there were bits where I was thinking, where are you going with this? The camera work is very good and it lets you know who's doing what. Again, I can't get into specifics. If you watch it, you know what I mean. Yeah. Characters kind of coming in and out of things. I'm not going to get into that. Once you've seen it, you know what I'm tiptoeing around. I'm really happy with it. Episode 5, absolutely bitch that for me because it's got all the little visual clues. There's a lot of things that don't make sense at the beginning, but then they do the cut back and you see it from another character's perspective, and you begin, they weed it in from episode 1.
Okay.
And there's also background ghosts as well, like they did in season 1. You will wonder how you did not see them before.
Oh,
like,
so they kind of do like a conjuring type thing in it, yeah, stuff like that.
For season 1, when they're coming down the staircase in the first 30 seconds, there are clearly 3 ghosts to the side. You don't see that first because you're following the characters. But sometimes I look back on YouTube afterwards to find a hidden ghost, and you're just appalled at how many you've missed. They hide them so well, but if you look, they're there. And I think that's why it's such a good show, because you're not bored. Your eyes aren't wandering around. I think that is
Easter eggs, yeah.
I can pay to Hill House. Me and my wife were playing a game of, is that a coat or is that a ghost? Because what they do is they freeze out the ghosts in the background. And they're just ghosts that don't come back into the plot. They're just there to see if you can spot them. And once you've seen them, it's quite creepy that they've been watched all the time by other ghosts. It's brilliant. So yeah, that's my first one. My second one is a childhood favorite. Now, it's called Eerie, Indiana. Okay.
I nearly picked this as well, actually.
Oh, I need to talk about this. I got this box set for £10. Oh, I love it. It's so cheap. So it's an American horror science fiction television series. It was originally from 1991 to 1992. It got 1 season. It's only 19 episodes exist. We got it here in the UK. It's got a fan following. It revolves around a teenager called Marshall. His family moves to the desolate town of Eerie, Indiana. They've got a population of 16,661. That's the famously as the sign says. He meets a new friend. Hello, can you? Did I stop? Yeah, I'm back.
No, I can hear you, Ben.
You're back now, yeah.
Okay. He meets someone called Simon, who's a normal person, and they face bizarre scenarios. Like there's crazy stuff going on. Like, have you guys seen this?
Yeah,
I've seen
a long time ago.
Bigfoot.
Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah.
Yeah, Harry Henderson's a while ago, yeah.
The Tupperware one. The kids going in the Tupperware, like Stepford Wives. It's just a weird show, and
yeah, it's kind of eerie.
Yeah,
it's brilliant. And I know I shot at Goosebumps a long time ago, but this is the good stuff. This is like proper imaginative. I know I'm annoyed that it's only 1 season, but I'm glad that we still have it.
This was kind of the precursor to like Fringe and stuff like that, and like, was it Warehouse 13 or whatever it is?
Oh, Warehouse 13, yeah.
And it's 19 short episodes, and I just love that it doesn't outstay its welcome, and I love it for that. I mean, I just love this show.
Special Unit 2, almost forgot about that. Special Unit 2, just saw it the other day.
Yeah.
Another one.
Definitely. Okay, and that's my pick. So what's your favourite episodes from Eerie, Indiana? If you can stretch your mind back that far.
The only one that I can actually remember is because you just said it there now, is the Tupperware one.
I think it's because it's...
I remember that now you say it, but
yeah,
I remember I've watched them all.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Moss CTV at one point, but I don't actually remember the episodes. I remember enjoying it.
Far back, my gosh. Oh, days. What a show.
Yeah. What's your favourite episode of Top of the Pops? I can't even remember anyone.
Yeah.
The one where they did the dancing and the lip syncing. Yeah, that one. Which one?
Oh, God.
The one where...
Wait, Top of the Pops. I think my favourite episode of Top of the Pops was Fire. To learn. That one. I can't remember his name, though. What's his name again? I forgot. But, yeah, that was my favourite one. That was the episode, though.
Anyway.
Yeah, go ahead.
Eerie, Indiana. Fucking brilliant pick, Ben. Thank you for doing so.
That's amazing.
I'd like you guys to go. Hopefully, you guys will go and watch it now and give it the full run because it's brilliant.
Far too much to watch. I'm not going to go back and watch it. I remember it. I remember it fondly. But I've got a job where I basically have to talk about TV shows that I watch, and I'm running out.
Well, you know, I mean, it's good. I mean, I'm glad you guys love the show, and that's it. And 2 good shows. Because I wanted horror-themed ones, and I thought, like Tom said, it's quite hard now to watch horror shows because there's not a lot. And it was like Eerie Indiana. That is kind of horrific. It fits the theme, and it's got one of the best theme tunes of all time. So you know, big shout out. It's one of those American shows that doesn't get a lot of love, and I know it's got a cult following now here in the UK at least, because
it does have a proper cult following in the UK. Yeah,
it had a short run, but I think people of the mid-30s now, like most of us, we remember it well. It didn't get a lot of fun, but
obviously we don't remember it well because none of us can remember a damn thing about it, but you do.
I watched it on DVD though, like you. I only watched it. I remember it when I was younger, and I remember I got the box set about 5 years ago for 10 quid, and I love the fact that somebody just thought, "Hey, this won't make me a lot of money, but I want to release this series on DVD." And like, I think someone independently sent it out into the world just so they could grab it on disc. And I love the fact I got it on my shelf.
Yeah, I love that.
It will never get put on streaming. So
I debate your statement about it having one of the best theme tunes, though.
Theme tunes.
I love it.
Theme tune is good, but I think it gets beaten all to hell by Round the Twist.
Oh, you can't be Round the Twist. Oh, that's not even fair, Tom.
Strange things happen. Are you going in around the twist?
That's not even fair.
It doesn't measure up to that in a million years. It's a good theme tune, but it ain't.
Ever felt like this?
Where's your guitar? We should be doing sing a song.
Hang on, just because I get a bit of inspiration and sing a couple of lines, you want me to start being a fucking performing monkey for you?
Do you not understand that is your role with us, Dan?
You get the organ first to grind, and then you get your performing monkey. You learn how to fucking work that organ, Ben.
When you signed your contract with us, it said on Syndrome...
What contract? I've never even met you face to face, Ben. I've never signed fucking anything for you.
You gotta get the guitar out when you do Syndrome specials, like a trained monkey. That's it. Next week, True Blood.
Next week, I will be getting the guitar out, and I will do the full fucking theme tune.
Dan actually does do a very good version of the theme tune to True Blood.
Grace Everett's bad thing.
Black Mirror is going to be difficult next month.
Don't know what to think you want, but I know that is true.
Jonathan,
for just bad things to you, True Blood.
Gonna do bad things
to you.
Okay, so
I think we've gone off topic a little bit.
There we go. Yes, let's get back here.
Always going off topic, John. What's your point? Anyway, next.
It's called advertisement. To point out we've done it and try and get it back on track at some point.
I'll go next.
Okay.
Next, go on then.
All right, so I have 2 choices, just the same as everyone else. And as per usual, I've gone a little bit outside of the box. It's still Halloween themed. One of them is incredibly scary if you're into that sort of thing. So I'm going to start there and then move on to the other one, which is actually more of a personal favorite. Okay. So we start with an anime series called Hellsing. Has anyone ever heard of it?
Go on, Dan! Go on, Dan.
I'm guessing some people have, Dan.
Yeah, I'm guessing Troy has.
Go on,
Dan. It was based off of a manga that originally ran in 1997 and ran for 11 years in the Japanese manga publication Young King Hours.
Yes, sir.
It went from 1997 till 2008, and it spawned a couple of other stories that were spin-off stories and inspired other stuff as well. And then we get to the point that after it had finished, they decided to go along to a company called Gonzo, which is an anime company, and they produced a 13-episode anime series.
Right.
It's not the same story; it's the same characters.
Yes.
As happens a lot with whenever you're changing from manga to anime, they switch up the story.
So it's not ultimate. That answers my question, because there's been two versions. So it's the original one from Gonzo. Okay.
Yes. I'm going to talk about the others as well.
Okay.
Over here, it was known as Hellsing Ultimate. That was still the original. There was just a different name. In Japan, it's known as Hellsing. It's anime series created by Satellite, Madhouse, and Grafnica, produced by Genion. It has DVD releases, so you will be able to find it on DVD if you can't find it on Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
And it has also some amazing ending music. The ending of each episode has beautiful instrumental music composed by Hayao Matsuo and performed by the Warsaw Philharmonic Orchestra.
Yes.
The Polish Philharmonic Orchestra. It's absolutely fucking brilliant. In terms of the plot is basically about an organization called the Hellsing Organization. It's a secret branch of the British government. It's been battling supernatural creatures and threats to keep the people safe from the creatures of the night. Its current leader, Sir Integra Hellsing, controls her own personal army to eliminate undead beings. But even her highly trained soldiers pale in comparison to her most trusted vampire exterminator, Alucard, who's actually a powerful vampire himself, who was beaten by Sir Integra's grandfather, the original Van Helsing, and made a deal with him to permanently serve members of his family, like in perpetuity, forever and ever. We follow specifically the point of view of someone who Alucard turns into a vampire in the first episode. Her name is Saras Victoria, and she's originally sort of a heavy weapons SWAT police officer style girl. She's badass already. She's been through a lot. She knows her shit, and then suddenly she's thrown into something which, despite all of her training and bravery, she's just going to die. She's outmatched completely, and she's going to die, and she is dying. And then Alucard turns up, and he's like, well, you're dying, so vampire? Cool, you're a vampire now. It's a very, very simple level of anime where you're looking at basically a versus trope. It's always versus, 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 versus. These are what happens in pretty much every single episode. There's going to be a battle. There's going to be blood. There's going to be Alucard looking like he's being beaten to absolute shit before he laughs it off and then just destroys whatever's coming at him. It's great. I think if you're into your anime, this is well worth watching. I don't mean if you're into your anime in terms of being like, ooh, I'm well into it. If you're even starting and just you enjoy it, this is one of the ones you want to put on your list.
It's very non-anime. That's the thing. That's what I like about it. I mean, even non-anime fans will love this. But another thing that I want to add to the love fest for this, normally I don't like dubs because I find the Japanese dub is best. I'm not mocking Americans here, but it's set in England. The dub on both the original and the 10-part again later, both of them are brilliant. Both of them have very different art styles as well. The Gonzo one is so stylish and very different. I love it. And the original is the newer one is a bit more, much more animation money's gone into it. But I still love the animation stuff. But the voice actors are all British, and the dub is very, very good. They just got really good British voice actors in.
It is.
It just works. I don't normally like dubs. I love the dub of Hellsing. Oh God.
Also, if you do feel like just dipping your toes into this world and you don't want to go into the entire series or either of the series, there's also a movie called Hellsing Bloodshot, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And that's basically it's a condensed version. The movie is a condensed version of the series.
Yeah.
Again, it's really good on its own.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my first pick.
Let me ask Troy, because I know Troy's going to ward in here, dude. Hold on. Troy?
Go on.
What do you think of Hellsing?
Oh my gosh, one of the best shows of all time. The transformations that he does throughout the show is just sick. This guy turns into flipping bats, wolves. He turns to everything, bro. This guy, his shape-shifting abilities, the way they do the animation is sick. Cell shaded in some of the animations that you see, but I love the animation style. So good, so stylish. Almost reminds me of like an old school, almost like a Fist of North Star almost type hair. What else? Like a old school Ninja Scroll type in the original arc of Hellsing. But we're forgetting the favorite character in the show. Dan's gonna know this. What's his name? That priest.
Oh God.
What is his name? My favorite character in the whole of Hellsing right there, the priest. The evil priest. The two knives running around with the Bible verses, yo.
I'm not telling you.
Is it
He's the best. He's my favorite character in the whole of Hellsing. I don't care what
the glasses, yeah, I know him.
Yeah, you know who that is.
Is it Dolnies? Walter C. Dolnies.
Yes, the man.
No.
The man. As soon as this guy rocks up, I was like, I love this guy. As soon as he even showed up first time, I was like, I love this guy.
Yeah, he's this sort of stoic,
yes,
not entirely with it, but entirely badass and loyal.
I love how he's quoting Bible references right.
I love it.
In a gun, for God's sake, it's brilliant.
Oh, guy's straight badass.
But yeah, I mean the amount of Alucards I've seen at Comic-Con is ridiculous. He's like one of the most identifiable characters of all time.
Big, yeah.
See, Troy, this is how you pick an anime for this show. Look how Dan's done it. He's picked top quality.
What are you talking about? My voice quality. What are you talking about? Me and Dan are on the same wavelength, yo. Come on, calm down.
I applaud you, Dan.
Anyway, hey, guys, let's stop with the Troy bashing.
I know, just disrespectful.
It's better than
Because as much as you might think that Hellsing was a fantastic pick, it really does pale in comparison to the next pick, and I just want that to be pure and unsullied because we have an absolute classic of British television coming up next.
Okay.
So, having said that, my second pick for this evening, for the Halloween special, is a British television series. It began running in the UK in 1984, originally by Universal Television. It was created by the British animators Terry Brain and Charlie Mills. And featured the voices of Willie Rushton and Nick Shipley exclusively for all of the characters within the show. Based on the idea of a servant who was constantly serving a hungry and irritable master, the first introduction of it was a parody of the Vincent Price horror film introductions. Somewhere in the dark and nasty regions where nobody goes stands an ancient castle. Deep within this dank and uninviting place lives Berk. Hello.
Does it have
servant of the thing upstairs? Berk, feed me. But that's nothing compared to the horrors that lurk beneath the trapdoor. Does anyone remember this show?
Oh my gosh, the memories.
It was a banger. Oh my god.
What
There's always something down there in the dark waiting to come out.
Oh my days, Dad, you're inspiring me right now. I've got some pics in my head. Oh my gosh, Dad.
Do you remember this? Do you properly remember it?
Yeah, I actually remember the show. When you brought it up, I was like, wait a second. I can't be talking about what we're talking about. Can't be that. Can't be that.
Yeah.
It was.
So the entire thing revolves around this same trope. The same trope is that there are these three characters that are the main characters you see on screen most of the time.
Yeah.
There's Burke, voiced by Willie Rushton, he looks a bit like a sort of a squishy egg with hands and feet, and he speaks with a West Country accent. And he's your main character. He's the steward, the caretaker of the castle. Yeah. He's quite simple-minded. He's a sort of a trial and error problem solver. He enjoys cooking with ingredients like mud and eyeballs, snakes and worms. Burke is often warned not to open the trapdoor by his friends or forbidden by his master, but often does so nonetheless. And he's mostly known for his catchphrases of, "Oh, globbit," or "Sniff that."
Sniff that.
His best friend is Boney, spelled Boni. Also voiced by Willie Rushton. He's a disembodied human skull who lives in an alcove near the trapdoor and speaks with an upper-class accent. He's something of an intellectual, but has a tendency to complain or bore others. And he's often shown to fail to, in time, warn Burke about the various monsters that come through the trapdoor.
He's always late.
Seems a bit more level-headed, but then whenever there's like glee to be had, he's just as childish as Burke. And then the final character you see a lot is this spider pet of Burke's called Drut. He's voiced by Nick Shipley, but he doesn't actually have words. It's just vocalizations. It's just noises. Characterized as male, but in the show's second season, he does produce a litter of baby spiders.
Yes. It's that second season when it's yeah.
And the whole thing basically revolves around it's clay animation combined with drawn animation, combined with props which allow for a sort of a melding of the two. And for 1984, it's really, really well done. It's creative. They use what they've got really well. And if you want to watch it now as an adult, it's hilarious. It's brilliant. There's all these things that, whenever you look at a kid's TV show and it's well done enough that an adult can go, "Oh, that's a nod to us." Kid's not going to understand that one yet. The kid's not going to understand. That's a joke for us watching it. Filled with them. Absolutely filled with those little bits. It's definitely a kid's show. It's wonderful. What else can I say about it? It was... Oh, let's see. For our US audience, it was a British show, but it was aired on Nick Jr. in 2004. ABC, Fox, they both had versions of it going on.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
And honestly, it's one of those things that was... I had a bunch of plasticine when I was a kid, and I was making these characters all the time.
I think everyone was at that point.
It was great.
Yeah, I loved it.
For example, the first episode, breakfast time. The thing upstairs is like, "Get me something I'm hungry. Get me something to eat." And he's like, "Yes, certainly." And he's made these pies, but he hasn't got anything to make with them. So he opens up the trapdoor to look for more ingredients, finds some worms, and it's like, "Oh, I can make things with worms." Gets all excited about that. Leaves the trapdoor open. This big yellow thing, kind of like a really dopey looking version of the bad guy from Monsters Inc., but yellow.
Well, like that. Oh my days.
Kind of like that, and it gets really excited because it gets out of the trapdoor and it sees the pies and it just swallows them all.
No.
And other things are coming out of the trapdoor as well, including the big red thing, which comes back at quite a lot. It's a scary, scary monster that comes out of the trapdoor. And at breakfast time, in the first episode, breakfast time, it chases Burke through the castle until Burke hides behind a mirror and the big red thing catches sight of itself in the mirror and goes, "Whoa," and runs back to the trapdoor. Eventually, the first episode ends with the big yellow thing I was talking to you about. It won't give up on the pies. So Burke just takes it entirely. The pies, the yellow thing, everything, throws it into the little dumbwaiter elevator and sends it up to the master and says, "Dinner's served."
Oh, this is the memories, yo. Of the trapdoor. This is going for the depths, man. I'm feeling it.
No, it was great. It was absolutely fantastic. I was looking for awards that it might have gotten. I can't believe that it just doesn't really have any awards to it. No.
What?
It was ignored. It was absolutely brilliant.
That's ridiculous.
Including such enigmatic characters as the big red thing, Rog, the large gorilla creature, who appears in the 4th episode called Lurkings. Bit dim-witted, but very friendly. Rog is the only character to be declared dead. Actually, to be declared dead in the entire series. During the final episode of the 2nd season, which is called The Big Red Thing, Rog is pronounced dead as the credits roll. And then he reveals himself to be alive in the aftermath. Yeah, I absolutely adored it. I checked it out just to be able to say that I was familiar with it again, because it was my first pick for the Halloween show. It's the first thing that came to my head, and I was like, no, I'm definitely doing that.
What's out on? When can you watch it?
It's still out on DVD. You can still order it on DVD. It is a cult classic. It has been re-released over and over and over again. It won't be in your best-selling anything, but in the larger stores, you'll probably find it somewhere.
It's available on iTunes.
It's also available on YouTube.
So much like Eerie Indiana, it's a cult classic.
Mm-hmm. And that was pretty much what I had to speak about today. I love the fact that it's this, it's complete, this egg with skinny arms and big massive hands that just sort of flop down from the top of the egg, and this sort of drawn on smirking little mouth for Burke, and just eyes on the top of the body, big googly eyes on the top of the body, big round blue thing with feet just coming out of him, not legs, just feet.
His feet just come out.
And he wanders around with this proper West Country accent, like he's being voiced all by Bill Bailey. And it's just great.
Oh my god, I'm going back and watching those. Yeah, I'm doing it. You inspired me to watch something else as well. There's other shows, other horror themed shows that I remembered when you said Trapdoor. Oh my day.
Yeah, there was also the I thought of that one, the Nick Jr. one, the Monsters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought this was closer to my childhood.
Yeah, there was anyway. What was that show that I used to watch? The Dark Street and the Dark. What was it? The Dark. What was it? What was it called? English show.
Oh, in the dark street, in the dark house. Yes. Dark. Yeah. What was that? Was that skeletons in the closet or something like that?
The bony ones.
That was my show.
Oh God,
oh my god, that's classic. That was my show. That's reminded me of that when you said Trapdoor. I was like, yo.
Right, Tom, take us home.
Oh, okay.
Go on, Tom.
Right, so a couple of picks this week, and I've tried to stick to sort of the horror theme to a degree. The first one is a TV show that was done by Netflix, and it's basically a reworking of Scream, the film series.
Oh yes.
By Wes Craven.
Yeah.
TV show.
Netflix picked it up and they did 2 series. Well, they've actually done a 3rd series, but that's not on Netflix, so I haven't seen the 3rd series.
Okay.
But series 1 and 2, and then a Christmas special that was kind of interconnected.
Christmas special of Scream. I need to see this. Oh.
So basically, it's not trying to remake the film, but it uses similar tropes, and it starts off with a young high school girl kind of sitting in the hot tub, gets a phone call from a number she doesn't recognize, answers it, and you've got the ghost face voice on the other end. Is anybody in the house with you? All the kind of the cheesy film things. It throws all of them in there and does most of them in the first episode just to get me done with them. But yeah, it's very similar to the series of the Scream films. It's got a completely separate cast. The ghost face is not the same as the one from the films. It's based more on a surgical mask because they kind of combine the Scream films. So you've got the Ghostface killer with a bit of Friday the 13th and other kind of
makes it a hybrid kind of. Yeah.
So basically, the woman gets murdered, and that makes the news to the whole high school. But it reminds everyone of a series of murders that happened 21 years earlier. And this guy had a mask on and ended up in an insane asylum, and it's lots of things, and was killed. And yeah, there's lots of. So it's a bit like Jason in that respect, mixed with Scream. It's really good. You've got loads and loads of good actors in the show. Not many famous actors, in fairness. It's relatively unknowns for the most part. It's got a narrator to it, which is a character called Piper, and she's quite famous, but I'm trying to find her name. I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Oh, damn, what's her name again?
Amelia Rose Blair.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
There you go.
Yeah, you'll know, even if you don't know the name, you'll know her. And yeah, she plays one of the characters, and she's a blogger. So they've kind of updated it from the early 90s into the noughties. She's a blogger who comes to town because of these murders, and so they kind of use her as a way of narrating. And you've got all these different characters, people drop dead, you've got all the tropes. You've got the jock, who actually turns out to be not as big a dick as you thought he was, the cheerleader, who is as much of a cow as you thought she was, but starts to get better as it goes on, things like that. And then you get the reveal in the last episode, and just as the series is finishing, I'm not going to tell you who the baddie is.
I was shocked because I watched the first season, and I
didn't see that coming, and I love the fact I didn't see that coming. When a show does that to me, I go, "Hey, yes!"
The thing, do you not find that the fact that it's got more time, it's got a season, they can stretch it out more, and it's got more room to breathe.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely. That. I mean, here's the thing, right? I'm a big fan of the Scream films.
Me too.
I think they did a fantastic job of taking the piss without taking the piss too much.
Yeah.
They were aware of what they were, but whereas you got Scary Movie, the first Scary Movie was funny because it was a proper send up of all of that stuff, but it runs out of steam very quickly. Whereas the actual Scream films, because they are still horror films, work. Now, the first one is the best because that's almost always true with horror films. Yeah. But Scream 2 is a bloody good stab at it, no pun intended. And yeah, it's innovative, it's interesting. Wes Craven is a master of the genre, and he was involved with this. He died just before this show finished airing, in fact, because he had been thinking about doing a 5th Scream film.
Yeah.
And then somebody approached him about doing the TV show, and he went, "Yeah, do that." He didn't have enough ideas for a 5th Scream film, so he was happy to have a revamp that gave longer. But you're right. The thing with a horror film is it follows certain tracks. It has to, and it only has an hour and a half to 2 hours to do all of it. Yeah. A 10-episode series allows you to get so much more depth in all the characters. And allows you to do a lot more deception as well, which makes it easier to throw you off who the killer is. And it's done very, very well. And one of the last things that the killer says before they lose at the end of the series, because there's a second series, so of course they lose, is that they had a partner the whole time. And they're just about to reveal the partner when they get taken out.
Yeah.
And so the series 2 is you have an immediate assumption about who the partner is from the way they end the first series.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep. You couldn't be more wrong. Is what I'm
They did that so much. They were like, yes, it's this person, like the whole season.
If it had been one series, that would have been a perfect ending, and you'd have gone,
exactly.
nice. But second series is really good, and it plays with all the tropes. Then they did like a 4-episode Halloween or Christmas special. I can't remember. That was pretty good, but it involved some of the same characters, but was not connected to the original 2 stories.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. But yeah, it's horror done well without being like really. It's not like majorly scary, but it's enjoyable.
It's a good thriller.
I like the first film because the spoilers. There's 2 of them, but they both got arrested. But the clever thing is, you think that they're off the table then, but they're both on the table, but you don't know that they're working together. I love that.
You assume there's one killer initially.
And the 2 people that you think it is, but you don't think it at the time.
Yeah, the 2 people you assume are going to be the killers alibi each other out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you remember, oh yeah, when it turns out it's them. That's why I love Scream. It's so clever. Oh,
but it's one of the reasons why I really don't like Scream 3.
Yeah.
Because there are certain moments where things happen, you go, oh yeah, that's because there's 2 killers. And then at the end of Scream 3, there's only 1. And it's like, well, no, he couldn't physically have done what I saw. That's not humanly possible.
Yeah, you get convoluted at the end, yeah.
And that's the thing, for your whole film, you assumed that it was fine because you went, well, there's 2 killers. That's why they're able to be in 2 places. That's why he's able to get downstairs in a millisecond.
Yeah.
It's because there's another one. And then it turns out there isn't. It's like, well, no, no. Anyway, that's an aside for another day in a different podcast.
Okay, so far so good.
But yeah, Scream.
Can I just ask one thing, Tom?
Mm-hmm.
How many times did you shout it?
Oh, Christ! At least 5 times an episode, I think, probably.
Fair enough.
One day we will
explain. Me and Tom, whenever we watch Scream films, we just have this we have this habit of watching them all together and sitting down, and anytime anyone walks on screen for the first time, we both shout "Killer!"
at the screen, yeah, constantly.
Oh, killer! Oh, I knew you guys like that. Killer!
Actually,
so yeah, I spent a lot of time doing that.
For the audience, because of that habit, that's going to be the name of our movie podcast. The Killer Movie Podcast.
The Killer Movie Cast.
Right, your second pick.
Anyway, yeah, sorry. Brief aside. The second one is a TV show. I think I've mentioned it on here before, but I definitely haven't done it as one of my picks. It's a show I absolutely love. I hadn't even thought about doing it until I was chatting to Dan a few days ago, and he mentioned it to me. I thought, oh yeah, that's a great show, especially for sort of like a Halloween-y type thing. It's not a horror film. It's not a horror show. It's a thriller. And it's a TV show called Ultraviolet.
Oh. Well.
It's not the film Ultraviolet. It's a completely different thing. It's a British show from 1997. And it is a vampire show. It's about a guy who gets dragged into the world of basically becoming a vampire hunter.
Damn,
but
I didn't know this.
It's awesome. It's Jack Davenport plays the lead.
Okay.
He's absolutely brilliant. And basically, the whole show starts off. Jack Davenport plays a policeman, and he's out with his friend for his stag night. His mate's getting married. His colleague is getting married the next day, and so he is the best man. The 2 of them are out on the raz having a few drinks.
Yeah.
And then Jack Davenport's character gets a call asking him to come and speak to an informant. And he goes, all right, you know what, sort of, I'll go and speak to him, and leaves his friend to go back into his house. And you see, as Jack Davenport's character runs away, his friend kind of looking out, and there's a guy standing in the street, and so you kind of see that the two of them know each other, but nothing will happen anyway. The wedding comes up the next day. The groom doesn't show up.
Yeah.
Fair enough. He's then that evening. Jack Davenport's walking along, and his friend, whose name is Jack in the show, shows up and says he's being chased by people. He's being attacked. He had to run and hide. He's really sorry, and that's all it is. He then gets approached. Jack Davenport's character, who's called Mike, gets approached by Idris Elba in one of his first roles. And Idris Elba basically says to him, "Your mate has been turned into a vampire." The whole show is about vampires. They never use the word vampire once in the whole show. They refer to them as category 5s and leeches. They never call them vampires. But it basically, and the whole idea is it was bringing a modern twist. They played with some of the tropes, so vampires can't have sunlight, things like that. But they took away a lot of the kind of supernatural. They couldn't turn into bats or mist or any of that shit. Okay. They could move faster and they were stronger than humans. And anytime a human tries to fight with a vampire in the show, they lose. The vampire is just too powerful for them. But they tried to kind of humanize it a lot more, and they used a lot of things like technology. So because they don't have any electrical waves in their body, vampires can't be heard on phones, can't be seen on screens, can't be seen in mirrors. But it means that that's one of the main ways that this team of people can catch them, because they've put cameras on the top of their guns. So if they aim their gun at you and you don't appear in their camera screen, they know you're a vampire. And they are carrying carbon bullets, carbon fiber bullets and things like that. And gas bombs made with garlic extract and shit like that. And it's really cool. One of the things I love about the show, it's a brilliant show. This guy, Mike, ends up going and working with Idris Elba and a couple of other people, and they're funded by the Vatican to try and catch the vampires. And every episode is really tense, really clever. Like, you find out why Idris Elba joined the team. It's because he was an Iraq First Gulf War veteran. His entire team got ambushed by the Iraqis, managed to get away, and they had to run across the desert for 40 miles, and halfway across they were ambushed by vampires, and he's the only one who made it. So he watched all of his friends die at the hands of vampires, basically. And yeah, so Jack Davenport's character, he ends up killing his friend Jack at the end of the first episode.
Damn.
The thing I love about that is it's all, like I said, it's set in London, but the guy who plays the first vampire you meet, Jack, is an actor called Stephen Moyer. Went on 11 years later to play William Compton in the TV show True Blood.
Yes, True Blood. Yes, there we go.
So he plays a minor vampire character in one of his first TV shows 11 years before he got the job in True Blood.
Wow, your next week is even funnier now. The True Blood special next week. That's fantastic.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think loads of people don't realise that Stephen Moyer is actually English, because he does a fantastic Southern American accent.
Yeah.
But anyway, the show is utterly flipping brilliant. It's dark. There's a brilliant episode where Idris Elba gets trapped in a warehouse, and he's got 6 coffins around him that are on timers. And so the whole episode, you're watching him see this countdown to when these vampires are going to be released, and he's fucked. And it's brilliant seeing him trying to work out what to do, and all the others trying to find him. The whole episode is around that. And it's just the tension, and Idris Elba is flipping fantastic in it. Jack Davenport is one of my favourite actors. This is pre-coupling, Pirates of the Caribbean. Just after he'd done This Life. So he was just on the rise as a performer at this point, and he's bloody good. It's dark. It's not humorous. It's dark, but it's fucking well done. And loads of people criticise it for being too depressing. But
we like it dark, England.
No. This was before it became cool to do vampire stuff.
Yeah.
About 5 years after this, you suddenly had the Twilight series, True Blood, all these things. Being vampire was cool.
Do they keep their shirts on? Because I hate vampires that do that.
Yes, they do keep their shirts on.
Thank God.
That's just because you like the shirts.
No. I've got a problem. Vampires are cool, but I don't think this whole, I'm going to take my shirt off, I'm a sexy vampire. Fuck that. They're meant to be murdering machines.
This is one of the criticisms that this show gets, is it doesn't do that. But this was done before all of those shows where fucking vampires sparkling in the sun can go fuck themselves, as far as I'm concerned.
Wait, fun fact as well, it came out the same year as Blade.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I like it. I don't like this, I'm a sexy vampire, let me take my shirt off. I hate that type of stuff.
Yeah. No, Ultraviolet does not do that. It is dark, it is brooding, it is a thriller.
Ben, can I just say, Ben, if you were a sexy vampire, would you bother with a fucking shirt?
No, you know what I mean.
It's a reasonable question. You got to admit, it's a reasonable question.
Yeah, it's a great question to be honest.
You are 1,000 years old and nothing fucking affects you apart from your thirst. Everything about you makes people drawn to you, and you can get your blood from them. Why would you bother wearing clothes at all? You turn up complete fucking starkers in front of some desperate woman's house and just go, "Hi, let me the fucking." Like, done.
Work at Italian restaurants and start grating cheese off of their six-pack onto pasta. That's what they're there for.
They can't work at Italian restaurants. There's too much garlic.
Good point. But I just think if you're a Twilight fan, go fuck yourself. There we go. Done. That's the people I'm attacking this week. Twilight fans.
Twilight fans can go fuck. Like I say, sparkly vampires can go fuck themselves.
And that will most probably make us every woman's favourite person this week. But I'm sorry, I don't like Twilight fans.
I don't have any problem with Twilight.
I've got no problem with Twilight fans.
Watch it or read it.
No problem with Twilight fans. I just don't like the idea of sparkly vampires.
If you like sparkly vampires, then you're a Twilight fan, so we have a problem.
Hang on. Specifically, just to give Twilight the credit that it's due and to point out exactly what the actual things are that are the problem with Twilight. One, sparkly vampires. What the fuck? Two, what's her face?
Christian Stewart.
Talonless.
That's the one. That's the one.
She can't act.
The wooden Muppet that's supposed to be Ultra.
The wooden Muppet.
Can't act. She's more wooden than a flipping soap actor from Home and Away. Right. So, thank you very much, Tom.
That's all right. Like I say, Ultraviolet, it's on all four if you wish to see it, and it's definitely worth it.
Thank you. So that is a full house of good stuff this week. Okay.
It really is.
Damn.
Next week, we're going to be doing True Blood.
Yeah.
Special. It's another Halloween special, but
it will actually be coming out on Halloween.
Yes, we've timed it very well. So Tom, what's the email address so people can get in touch with us?
Square-eyed syndrome 2020@gmail.com.
Okay, brilliant. Keep it up.
Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave us a comment, check out our other podcasts, and tell your friends.
Do it.
Yeah, because we would love to engage you guys in conversation, and that's what we want. Even if you don't agree with what I say, which is normally going to most probably be the problem, bring it. Bring it. More victims for me to have a bitch at. Yeah. Right, guys. Right, it's goodbye from me.
Bye from me.
Bye from me.
And so long from me. Have a good Halloween.
Sparkly vampires, man.